We're just going to go ahead and do a quick test video on the SE5. SE5 by Randall's Inventor and Training, formerly known as RAT. This would formerly be the knife, the RC5. I'm sure you can see that here. Well, first things first, this is a monster knife. This is a 1/4 inch thick, and from the manufacturer's website, from Esee's website, it weighs 1 pound or 16 ounces, and that is without the sheath. Now this knife right here is going to be a 1095 high carbon steel as well, which means that even though it's got a beautiful, durable, textured powder coat, the blade edge here and anywhere that is stamped with their name and information, you can see that glare there, that is all raw steel, and you're going to have to protect that with either a Tough Glide or some kind of oil-free, preservative, lubricant, metal protector. Even back here on their serial number, the model number, you see that pretty well. That, as well as that beveled window breaker, has to be protected, otherwise it will rust over time, over some heavy use. Sorry about the dogs going off in the background here, but this is just a test tabletop review of the SE5 by Esee Knives. Now again, this is a huge knife. I've got pretty small hands, medium, small hands, and I still don't fit the whole thing. As far as knives go though, this is much more of a hatchet built into a knife, as again it weighs 1 pound, 1/4 inch thick, high carbon steel. And high carbon is really good for a couple reasons. One is that it's easy to sharpen, fairly easy to at least field sharpen, I'd say, based on reviews and based on my research of that particular steel. As well as it's hard enough that it'll take a serious beating. It's not brittle, or less brittle than some other metals. You can see right there, it's made in the USA by Rowan Manufacturing out in Idaho. Now this model right here is pretty much the standard. You can get the blades in black or OD or olive drab or a tan, I believe. And then the handles, these handles are a custom, I'm sorry, not a custom, but at least, you know, it's not G10, it's a micarta, which is a little bit more of a fibrous material. And from the reviews I've read of this, it does stain a little bit over time. It has the same kind of moisture resistant qualities, if I remember correctly, as some of those, but it's not a leather, so it's not gonna get damaged really easy. As you can see, that handle is thick, really thick. For comparison here, let's see if I can pull out a quarter or maybe some kind of coin. But it's just a beautiful knife. It's a great knife. Now you notice here talking about the handle again too, they're set with Chicago style screws, but they have an Allen key or an Allen wrench to separate them. And with that, when you get the knife, they do give you the sheath, a small little strip of paracord, and then a little pull tab, a spring-loaded pull tab, so you can kind of adjust that. It's not quite big enough to wrap around your leg, but it's nice. It's a Kydex sheath. It's made really well. It's got a drain hole in the bottom. You can kind of see through that. And then it does come with this non-Kydex plastic bolt-on, or sorry, screw-on belt clip, and it adds a nice amount of drop. You know, hanging on your belt, it won't be too top-heavy. Obviously, it puts the center of gravity a little bit lower, so it's out of your way enough, but at the same time, it's easy to access. Now again, Kydex thermoplastics are beautiful, and this thing is really cool. And what they did too is not only did they rivet it really, really nicely, they also added this little locking feature. And this one's really tight right now, but it's already, you know, held in with a decent amount of retention when you put the knife into the sheath. And it clips in there real nice and solid, but it does, you know, pull out. You hear that nice click. Just pop it with your thumb with a little bit of force, kind of at a weird angle here. But then if you slide that lock, it really makes it hard to pull out. Now, an additional feature or sheath option that you can get from Esee, or Esee, I'm not sure how everybody pronounces it out there, but they do have a molly strapped back piece to replace this, and they also have a pouch that you can use the same mounting hardware and mount a pouch. And you can do other YouTube reviews and see other videos out there of this wonderful knife, but the pouch has a buckle, and it's a really nice pouch. I like it. I kind of played around with making my own style pouch, but basically all I've seen in there is you know, a fire tinder or a fire starter of some kind of maybe magnesium as well, or an Altoids tin is always, you know, a survival Altoids tin is really popular, and I've got my own set up. But again, you know, just a quick review of the knife, and at least this one. This is the Esee or Esee 5 survival knife, and it is a really nice knife. And there's other kind of modifications out there. They do, from the factory, have a new, some people call it a zombie version, but it's not a zombie version. It's the bright green with the venom green, excuse me, the venom green with the bright orange handles. And well, I thought that was kind of cool and kind of nice. Watching some of the videos on that, I just decided not to go that route. And this knife right here is actually one of the members of my group let me borrow this so I can make a quick review video of this knife in general, because I just purchased mine. And let me show you mine here. This right here is the Esee or Esee 5 knife. Exact same knife. With a couple other from the manufacturer modifications. Let's move this here a little bit. Again, they will give you a small strip of paracord with the regular Kydex sheath. But I went ahead and ordered my knife through the Knife Connection, and the Knife Connection had a really cool deal, and they have really cool options too on getting custom G10 handles. And the first thing you'll notice is that it doesn't quite sit as level as this one when you lay down, is because this handle right here is flat, completely flat. And from using my friends, a couple of friends, and members of my group, after using it a few times, it's even with gloves, it's not that comfortable. But with the G10 handles from the Knife Connection, and only from the Knife Connection that I found, it's much more contoured. You can kind of see that. Not only contoured, but at the end it kind of flares back out a little bit. I'll move this out of the way. Flares back out a little bit, and in the middle, in the meat, right where your handle goes, right where your hand goes, it's nice and filled out, comes together nice. And then the front end is basically the same, basically. where it still locks into that Kydex sheath. And it locks in really, really, really nice. And again, this is from the Knife Connection, and I'm not sponsored or affiliated with him by any means. He's a great guy. Took the time and answered my phone calls to talk with me about this knife a couple times before I purchased it. Because don't get me wrong, this is a very, very expensive knife. But when it comes down to things that I like and purchase for myself, I'd rather, of course, always go with function over fashion. And then look into exactly what is the knife made out of, what can you do with it, and what kind of applications are you going to be using it, within a realistic, the realm of realism, I'll put it that way. Now, you're really going to be backpacking with a 1 pound knife. I would say yes. I would take this over a small camp hatchet. And I really have tested a few hatchets out there. I've had a Coleman, I've had a Fiskars or Gerber camp axe, and they're nice, but they have a very, very, very small section of which you can cut with. Now, another thing with the axe is that you have to be really, really careful, at least with a small camp axe or with a hatchet, is how you're chopping wood. It's always really nice to have good daylight and to be, obviously safe when you're doing any kind of woodwork or camping with making firewood. But with the axe and stuff, you could, very, very in low light situations, you could hurt yourself very easily. When you use a knife like this and you're going to baton, it's a little bit safer. I'm not going to say significantly safer, but it's definitely safer than trying to swing an axe while holding a piece of wood upright and swinging into it. And especially after a long backpacking or a hiking trip to wherever your camp section or camp location is going to be. You could be tired, you could be winded, it could be dark outside. It might not be the ideal environment to be absolutely of the right mind to be chopping wood with a small hatchet. Whereas batoning with wood makes it a little bit safer, where you can just grab this, sink it into the top of the wood, and then beat the other side of the blade, either this side or this side, holding it back here, and get through really, really decent sized pieces of wood. I went ahead and did a lot, and I mean a lot of research. I spent about 5 or 6 months researching this knife before I actually not only saved up the money to make this style of purchase, or this hefty of a purchase, but just researching. Definitely not a gear junkie by any means, but I do like high quality, made in the United States products. It's just one of the things that I like to do. I like working for small businesses, not large international corporations as well, but that's me. Anyways, this is just a test video, so let's see how this looks and see what I can do with editing. And part 2 will be not a little tabletop review here, but it'll actually be, I'm not even going to call it a full scale, but I call it a backyard exercise. We got some wood we're going to cut up and see how thick logs I can get through, just batoning and hacking, chopping, if you will, getting through some dry wood, some wet wood. And I'll also, at that video, maybe bring in my holster, or I'm sorry, my sheath, which from the regular sheath, from this one right here, I made my own modifications too. I got a double kangaroo holster from a local surplus store and made a full-on kit. An Altoid survival tin, another small knife, a Velcro retention strap for additional safety, and it's MOLLE backed, so you get that much more versatility. I'll go over that in another video or the second video, I'm not quite sure, but this right here is my custom. I'm going to say custom because it was a very limited run of the orange, specifically for the Knife Connection. So I'm going to say custom with the custom G10 handle. Custom Esee 5, formerly known as rat cutlery, or the knife would formerly be known as the RC5. Again, it's just a great knife. Doing a lot of research on this, and I can't emphasize enough how much I need to get outside and just put this thing through a couple logs. It's been winter up here in Minnesota, and it's still wet outside. So thanks for watching. We'll see how this goes, and probably going to be a part 2. I'll let you know.